Discover the incredible life-changing journey of a billionaire playboy transformed by his maid's hard work. Zachary Monroe lounged in his sprawling mansion, a glass of cristal in one hand and his phone in the other. The sun dipped low, casting shimmering gold over the immaculate lawns of his 5-acre estate. To the world, he was a dream, the ultimate playboy billionaire with a different woman on his arm every week, cruising through life without a care. But deep down, Zachary felt like a ghost, haunting a life of marble floors and glitzy parties, moving through shallow conversations that felt scripted, rehearsed. Genuine connection had slipped right through his fingers, leaving an empty pit in his chest. Enter Anna, his new housekeeper, who had just arrived from Mexico. A fierce, unyielding widow, she hustled through her days, juggling 2 jobs while her kids awaited her earnest return home. From the moment she stepped into his life, her presence was like a breath of fresh air, a stark contrast to the polished veneers of his friends. He caught her sweeping the grand hallway, sunlight filtering through the windows, highlighting her determined face. Sweat glistened on her brow as she worked tirelessly, and for the first time, Zachary felt a spark of something. Something real. Something that he'd forgotten existed. "Who does she think she is?" whispered Olivia, his most recent fling, as they clinked their glasses at a rooftop party. He felt his chest tighten, the laugh stuck in his throat. Just a maid. In a place like this. Can you imagine? The laughter of his friends swirled around him, stinging. A tidal wave of shame crashed over him, and yet, when he returned home, his eyes kept drifting to Anna, who poured all her heart into everything she did. He watched her lovingly care for her children, the glimmer of hope sparking in her eyes, even when the world around her tried to smother it. "Why can't I be more like her?" he thought, just shy of admitting it aloud. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The local charity gala landed on his lap as a perfect excuse to shake off the discontent festering inside him. It was supposed to be a simple cameo, a chance for Zachary to mingle and avoid the prying eyes of his parents, who wished for him to court high society. Yet Anna, standing in her floral dress amidst the glitz and glamour, sparked something within him that felt electric. Their laughter blended with the jazz music, and it felt scandalously beautiful. As the night wore on, whispers circulated about the odd pairing: Zachary, the billionaire prince, and Anna, the working-class heroine. The class divide tugged at his heart like a cruel thread, tough and unyielding. Little did he know, revelations awaited them both behind the curtain of their fragile bond, ready to shake foundations they had just begun to build. A truth about Anna's past lurked in the shadows, threatening to turn their tale into a tempest. And as Zachary drew closer to making a decision to either cling to the empty luxury that promised comfort or embrace the chaos of love and vulnerability, he knew he stood on a cliff. The ground trembled beneath him. Would he leap into a world unknown, or retreat back into the gilded cage that held him captive? Anna's laughter rang out, bright and genuine, cutting through the hum of the gala like a vibrant firecracker. Zachary found himself captivated, watching her revel in the music as her eyes sparkled with joy. It was a side of her he hadn't seen before, the carefree spirit, unburdened by the heavy expectations of society. In that moment, he wanted to be the man who made her laugh. He didn't care that the room filled with murmurs, the curious glances aimed at them. It felt different, invigorating. Yet, as the evening progressed, uncertainty lurked just beneath the surface. Would his wealthy friends ever accept her? Would his family turn their backs? These were the questions spinning in his mind, but they faded with every shared smile and whisper that passed between them. As they danced, Zachary caught the perfume of her hair, a simple scent that made him feel unraveling threads of his own carefully constructed world. "Do you know how to salsa?" he asked, grinning as he pulled her close. Her eyes widened with surprise, and then she laughed again, that melody igniting warmth in his chest. Not appropriately, she replied playfully, her smile widening. That openness, untouched by pretense, challenged everything he knew. Beneath the glitz, he was just Zachary, and she was just Anna. In the whirlwind of dance and laughter, they shared a moment that felt pure, an exchange far removed from the superficial interactions he was used to, but then, just as quickly, the laughter faded. A figure approached Carla, Zachary's mother, with her perfectly coiffed hair and cold, judging eyes. "What are you doing, Zachary?" Her tone dripped with a mixture of disbelief and disapproval. "You don't honestly think this maid is suitable for you, do you?" The air grew thick and suffocating. Zachary felt his heart sink. Anna's eyes darted away, a veil of hurt shadowing her features. She wasn't a maid, she was a person, full of strength and dignity. "Mom," he found himself saying, his voice firmer than he expected, "she's not just a maid. Her name is Anna, and she deserves respect." Carla's lips pursed, clearly taken aback. She didn't respond. Instead, she turned her gaze toward Anna, disapproving and dismissive, and moved on, taking the last shred of levity with her. The silence that followed was palpable. Zachary looked at Anna, who stood frozen as if an invisible weight pressed down on her. "I'm sorry," he whispered, desperately wanting to reach out, to let her know he saw her for more than what others labeled her. Anna met his gaze, eyes shimmering with an unfamiliar mixture of emotion. "It's okay," she said softly, but he heard the tremor in her voice. Did she truly believe those words? The night ended, but the chill remained. They left the gala, and outside, the cool air wrapped around them like a blanket. Yet, it felt heavy with unsaid words. Zachary wanted to talk, to share the weight of their realities. But as they walked towards the car, he noticed her gaze drop, her posture tense, as if fighting the tide of many thoughts. "Do you want to grab a coffee?" he offered, hoping to help break through the barrier that had formed. But her response surprised him. "I have to get home to my kids," she replied. It felt like a definitive no, the door slowly closing between them. Her words echoed in the spaces of his mind, filled with unexpressed fears and possibilities. Standing close to her, Zachary felt the heat of potential shift away. "Anna, wait," he called, urgency mingling with confusion. As she turned to face him, a new determination flickered across her expression. "I need to think about everything, Zachary. I can't mix in your world of wealth. You deserve someone who can stand beside you, not behind." He wanted to argue, to tell her she was more than adequate, more than enough. But the truth hung heavy in the air. Their worlds felt vast and untouchable. And deep inside, he felt the chasm widening. "Please don't shut me out," he pleaded, but her eyes flickered with uncertainty. "You don't understand my life." The tension crackled as their gazes held. In that breathless space, each was rooted in their truth, but paths of life were diverging, taking them toward unknown futures. Suddenly, an unsettling thought yanked Zachary into the moment. What if Anna carried a burden that could change everything? That truth lay heavy between them, and he had to know. As the night wrapped itself around them like a cloak of darkness, he felt the anxious pull of revelation looming ahead. What secrets held Anna's past, and would they bind them together or tear them apart? The wind rustled through the street as Anna stood there, her heart racing. The distance between them felt like an abyss. She could feel the warmth of Zachary's gaze pressing against her, and it stirred a whirlwind of emotions. Yet, apprehension gnawed at her insides like a persistent ache. The truth she carried was a heavy weight, one that she hadn't shared with anyone. "Zachary, please understand, my life isn't simple," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "I've got responsibilities that tie me down." He stepped closer, desperately wanting to bridge the gap. "But I want to understand. I want to know you, all of you." His eyes searched hers, pleading for the connection that defied their differences. Anna shook her head. You don't know what you're asking for. It hit her like a flood. How could she explain the years of struggle, juggling between work and motherhood, the sacrifices she'd made? The walls she'd built around her heart to shield her children from the world's judgment felt insurmountable. I may not know everything, he admitted, but I see something in you that I can't ignore. The admission hung in the air, delicate yet powerful. She wanted to believe it. Each word felt like a lifeline, yet those chains of self-doubt held her back. Memories flashed before her like snapshots, long nights working multiple jobs, the laughter of her kids, the grief of losing her own dreams. Could she really step into his world, or was she destined to remain on the outside, always an onlooker, never a participant? Zachary took a deep, steadying breath. I want to help, Anna. Not just with tonight, but, whatever it is you're carrying. Let me be a part of your life. We can figure things out together. Her heart fluttered. There was sincerity in his voice. Yet, she had always taken pride in her independence. I don't want to turn your life upside down because of my baggage, she replied softly, her voice thick with emotion. You're not baggage, he urged. You're a person, and I'm drawn to you. I can't shake off this feeling. It's different from anything I've ever felt before. The vulnerability in his words cracked the veneer of her resolve. A flicker of hope ignited within her, but fear quickly extinguished it. Zachary, you have no idea the obstacles that come with me. I'm not just a maid. I'm a mother, and my kids come first. I have to protect them. With every word, that wall she had built for self-preservation trembled. He nodded, taking a step back, giving her space to breathe. I get that. And I respect that. But it doesn't mean you have to shut me out. What if I could help? Pain and longing twisted inside her, battling against the choking fear of vulnerability. If only she could see a way forward. She touched his arm softly, the warmth radiating through her fingers. You've got a life in this glamorous world. A world that will always what? He challenged gently. Always look at me differently? I can't live for the expectations of others. So why should you? Anna's breath caught. His determination was infectious, but she couldn't allow herself to hope. Not yet. Zachary, just think about it, he murmured, a soft urgency in his voice. Whatever decision you make, it will be yours. And I'll respect that. For the first time that night, Anna felt a tug of something deep, a yearning for connection that felt electrifying. But still, it was wrapped in layers of fear and uncertainty, thick as the evening fog. The moment felt fragile, like a glass teetering on the edge. Let us just take it one step at a time, she finally whispered, her heart quivering with trepidation. That he smiled, that endearing grin that had first caught her breath back at the gala. One step. Together. Yet, even as he leaned in closer, a shadow flickered across her mind, a chilling reminder of the reality waiting at her doorstep. Would her kids accept this sudden whirlwind? Could she really reshape her life? As they stood under the street lamp, illuminating their intertwined hopes yet casting shadows of tension and doubt, a thought struck Anna with sudden clarity. What unforeseen challenges awaited her if she opened her heart? She took a deep breath, wanting to step boldly into the unknown, but fears loomed heavy in the air. And the lingering question hung unspoken between them, would the love they were building be enough to weather the storm still to come? Anna's thoughts buzzed like a startled hive. She kept glancing at Zachary, caught between wanting to take a step closer and the instinct to retreat. The world around them buzzed with life, but all she could focus on was the man standing before her, his eyes full of promise and uncertainty. Can you really handle this? She whispered, her voice barely audible over the distant laughter and chatter. I mean, my life isn't what you think. It's messy, and it's complicated. Zachary's gaze softened. I'm not afraid of messy. I'm here because I want to be. I want to know the real you. His sincerity struck her like a warm gust of wind, yet she found it hard to shake her doubts. What if she let him in and it all crumbled? What if her secrets became too much for him to bear? Her children depended on her stability, and she couldn't mess that up. He reached out, his hand brushing against hers. The light touch sent a jolt through her, igniting a flicker of hope amidst the storm of her anxieties. Just take a chance, Anna. Please. It was hard to push away the pang of longing. Closing her eyes, she envisioned her children's faces innocent and reliant on her. They needed her strength, her guidance. But maybe, just maybe, allowing Zachary and wouldn't take away from that. Perhaps it could even enrich their lives. She hesitated, searching for words. I fear that they won't understand. They deserve a stable life. Then let us build that stable life together, Zachary countered, his determination unwavering. I can be a part of that stability. I want to be. The tension in her chest started to ease as curiosity bubbled inside her. A life built together? It sounded beautiful but still felt unattainable. The image of this new life blended in with her own reality of endless errands and sleepless nights. What if it doesn't work out? She asked, desperation tinted in her voice. What if I'm just creating a mess? Then we clean it up together, he promised, a charming smile lighting up his face. But underneath that smile, there was a vulnerability that made him more human, more real. As they stood there, the streetlight flickered above, enveloping them in a soft glow. The world around them felt like a dream, a start of something new. But lurking in the shadows of her thoughts were questions, fears that coiled tightly around her heart. As the silence stretched between them, the possibilities felt almost tangible. But the fragile hopes were interwoven with doubts that threatened to drown her rush of excitement. I don't want to ruin what we might have. Then don't think about ruining it. Just think about now, he urged, his voice steady. We can take it slowly. One step at a time. You and me, together. It was the simple truth she had needed to hear. A single moment stretched into infinity, enticing and terrifying. Anna felt the weight of her worries spill into the night air, the icy tendrils of fear creeping around her resolve. Would she pull away, or take the plunge? Okay, she breathed, the word feeling both like a weighty promise and a reckless abandon. Let us try this, but, no expectations. Just possibilities, Zachary replied, his smile widening, pulsing with hope. That flicker of warmth spread through her, but in the back of her mind lingered the thought, what if her past came crashing down into this fragile moment? And with it, the question of whether Zachary would still want to be by her side when the truth finally emerged. As they stepped away from the street lamp, the shadows of the night deepened, and the path ahead felt both thrilling and uncertain. Each step felt monumental, marking the beginning of something vibrant, yet precarious. Would she find the courage to fully embrace this leap of faith, or would her fears keep her cycles locked in the same old patterns? Anna walked alongside Zachary, her heart pounding with every step they took. The noise of the bustling street faded into a distant hum, and all she could feel was the warmth radiating from him, wrapping around her like a soft blanket. The evening air was cool and crisp, but her pulse quickened, ignited by a mixture of hope and apprehension. What do we do now? She asked, her voice a bit steadier as they moved away from the glow of the street lamp. She felt strange, as if she were stepping from one world into another, where everything was uncertain. Zachary turned to her, his expression earnest. How about we get some ice cream? It might be a simple beginning, but it's a good place to talk. He gave her a playful grin, as if inviting her to share a moment of lightheartedness amidst the weight of their conversation. Anna's lips curled into a hesitant smile. Ice cream felt innocent, a step toward normalcy. That sounds nice. As they walked toward the nearby ice cream shop, she let herself breathe easier. The laughter of children playing in the park filled the air. For a moment, she could almost imagine a future where laughter was part of daily life again, a future her children would embrace. They arrived at the shop, a small, charming place with colorful neon signs illuminating the flavors on display. The sweet, sugary scent wafted toward them, igniting a nostalgic warmth in Anna. She glanced at the menu, but her mind was on more pressing matters. "What do you want?" she asked, glancing at him. Zachary looked thoughtful. "I think I'll go for chocolate mint. Always a classic." He turned to her with a playful sparkle in his eyes. "How about you?" "I'll have vanilla." "It's safe," she replied, her stomach fluttering at how simple their conversation felt. After ordering their cones, they stepped outside, the cool evening air bracing against their skin. They wandered toward the park bench, where the ambience felt alive, the rustle of the leaves, the distant barking of a dog, and the soft laughter of families enjoying the night. "Do you ever miss just being carefree?" Zachary asked, leaning back, savoring his ice cream. Anna paused, the question sinking into her. "Carefree like I used to be, before my life got complicated?" "Yeah, something like that," he replied, watching her intently. She sighed lightly. "Sometimes. But then I remember what I'm fighting for, what I have to do." Her gaze turned serious, the weight of her responsibilities heavy on her heart. "Every day, it's about being strong for my kids." Zachary nodded, somber, perhaps understanding that her struggles were layered and complex. "You're doing a great job, you know that?" His compliment felt genuine, warming something deep inside her. "Thanks," she smiled shyly, grateful for the acknowledgement. "But it's a lot to handle alone." He leaned closer, lowering his voice. "You don't have to handle it alone. I'm here, remember? We can share the load, you just need to let me in." The way he said it sent a thrill through her, exhilarating and terrifying. What if she truly let him in? As the night lingered, they shared stories and laughter. Zachary's humor wrapped around her, dispelling the gloom that had settled in her mind. The simplicity of the moment was a balm, anchoring her swirling thoughts. But as she looked into his eyes, a flicker of uncertainty danced there. What about when her past caught up with her, or worse, when her kids found out about her complicated history? Would he still want to stay beside her then? The question hung between them, unspoken. Then, unexpectedly, Zachary reached out, linking his fingers with hers. "Whatever happens, we'll take it one step at a time, right?" His touch sent a ripple of warmth through Anna. This felt right, yet the demons of her past still lurked in the recesses of her mind. One step at a time. Could she truly embrace that promise, knowing what was at stake? Just as a fresh wave of hope washed over her, the sound of a familiar voice echoed through the park. It was her son, calling her name from the playground, the blend of joy and innocence resonating in the cool night air. Anna's heart sank. Her perfect moment would soon collide with her reality. Would she be able to introduce Zachary to her world, or would the weight of her fears hold her back? Anna took a deep breath, her heart racing as she turned toward the sound of her son's voice. There he was, laughter spilling from his lips as he raced across the playground, trailing a group of friends behind him. The sight pulled at her heartstrings, a beautiful reminder of what she was protecting. But it also brought the weight of her reality crashing back in. Zachary followed her gaze, his grip on her hand loosening slightly. "Is that your son?" he asked, curiosity shimmering in his eyes. "Yes," Anna replied, her voice barely a whisper as she watched him. "His name is Danny." As she watched Danny chase after a soccer ball, it struck her how quickly time passed. Just yesterday, he was learning to ride a bike, and now he was at the age where friends meant everything. For the first time in a long while, she felt an ache of nostalgic pride. While she momentarily basked in this warmth, Zachary's unexpected presence knocked against the familiar walls she had built. Would he understand her world? The complexities of juggling motherhood while being constantly haunted by her past? "Can I meet him?" Zachary asked, glancing from her to Danny, his tone gentle but hopeful. Anna's stomach twisted. She wanted to say yes, but fear gripped her like a vice. I don't know if now is the right time." "Why not?" he pressed, leaning in with that earnest look, a familiar look that made her want to trust him. Because he doesn't know everything. Not yet. I don't want him to see me differently, or to feel different about himself because of my choices, she admitted. The words were heavy, laying bare all her worries about the fragile balance she had fought so hard to maintain. Zachary nodded slowly, the understanding in his eyes deepening. Sometimes the truth is exactly what we need. Children are more resilient than we think, he replied, a hint of reassurance threading through his words. Anna twisted her fingers together, considering. Did she want to shield Danny from her mistakes forever? Or was it time to let someone in, even if it was just for a moment? She took a deep breath, feeling an unexpected swell of courage. Okay. Just, be gentle with him, okay? He's still figuring things out, too. Zachary's face lit up with a smile. I promise. As they approached the playground, Anna could feel her heart hammering in her chest. Would this be the moment that shifted everything? She watched Danny jog closer, seemingly unbothered by her nervousness. Mom! He called, his bright eyes sparkling under the streetlights. Look at my new moves. He demonstrated a clumsy but enthusiastic kick of the ball, sparking laughter from his friends. This is Zachary, Anna introduced, kneeling beside her son. He's an important person I want you to meet. Danny paused, blinking at Zachary with wide eyes, curiosity washing over his face. Hi. Did you see that? He pointed back to his friends with an enthusiasm that radiated innocence. Yeah. You kicked that ball like a pro, Zachary encouraged with a wink, kneeling to Danny's level. Anna watched the easy exchange unfold, her heart fluttering. Could it really be this simple? As a warm smile spread across Danny's face, Anna felt a sliver of her tension ease. Zachary's kindness was genuine, and for the first time, she began to wonder if she could truly let someone share the burden she had carried alone for so long. But just as hope began to bloom, a sharp voice broke through the laughter. Anna! There you are! It was her ex-husband, Tom, striding purposefully toward them. Her pulse quickened, the pleasant moment they had created suddenly shifting, turning back towards chaos. Danny, come here now. Tom commanded, his eyes narrowing as he took in the situation. His ex-wife with a stranger, a man who looked far too comfortable with their son. Anna's heart dropped. Would this be the reckoning she had dreaded? Could she maintain the fragile connection she was beginning to build with Zachary, or would Tom's presence shatter everything she was hoping for? Anna's breath caught in her throat. She felt a surge of panic, but she fought to keep her expression calm. Danny, blissfully unaware of the fraying dynamics around him, bounded toward his father, enthusiasm dampened by the anticipated reprimand. Dad! Look! I showed Zachary my soccer kick. Danny said, his voice bright, desperately hoping for approval. Tom's gaze flicked from Danny to Anna, his eyes narrowing as if weighing the situation. That's great, buddy. But we need to talk. His tone was flat, the words lacing the air with tension. Zachary stood, suddenly conscious of the undertow of hostility. Anna could see him sizing up Tom, trying to gauge how this man might react. She felt an urge to protect him from the storm brewing, but part of her wanted to scream, to defend the opportunity to know Zachary, to open a door she had kept firmly shut. Maybe we can talk later, Anna suggested, striving for neutrality while her heart thudded in her chest. She felt a knot forming in her stomach. It had taken so much courage to even introduce Zachary to Danny. No, we're talking now. This is unacceptable, Anna. Tom's voice was sharp, cutting through the evening air. The playground seemed to grow quiet, the nearby laughter fading as a tension she had tried to shield Danny from loomed over them. I didn't do anything wrong, she replied, her voice steady despite the tremor inside her. I'm just letting my son have a moment of fun. Danny's excitement dimmed, and he looked from one parent to the other, confusion creeping across his young features. I thought we were having fun. Anna felt anguish swell, a mother's instinct rising in her chest. She knelt beside Danny, her eyes pleading. "We are, sweetie. Zachary is just being nice. You showed him your cool kicks, remember?" "But Dad wants to talk," Danny replied, his little brow furrowed in concern. "We'll talk later, Danny," Tom snapped, cutting across the innocence of the moment. Zachary, sensing the growing chaos, stepped a little closer, a protective stance, but Anna could see the uncertainty in his eyes. This was no longer a simple meeting. This was a crossroads, and the stakes felt higher than ever. "I think it could be good for Danny to have," Zachary began, his voice measured, but was quickly cut off by Tom's impatience. "Who even are you? And why are you here?" Tom's voice was a harsh whisper, loaded with suspicion and resentment. Anna felt a pang of anger, a spark flaring inside her. Why was she still letting Tom control the narrative? "He's just a friend, Tom. Someone I can trust," she said, pushing back against her instinct to cower. "Trust? You've got to be kidding," Tom shot back, incredulity painted across his face. After everything she felt the world pivot, the daunting thought of her past spilling into the present. "I'm trying to rebuild, Tom," she replied, keeping her composure despite the rush of memories flooding back. "For Danny's sake." A flicker of doubt crossed Tom's face, but it quickly vanished, replaced by the authoritative stance he had always commanded. "You think this is okay? You think bringing strange men around him is good for him? You need to stop." Anna's heart raced as she held his gaze, the conflict palpable. She wished to believe she could defend this life, protect her son from the consequences of their history. "Danny deserves to see that I can move forward," she said, standing firm. "We both do." Zachary placed a hand on her shoulder, a small, yet reassuring gesture that sent warmth through her. It was a reminder that she wasn't alone in this. Before she could catch her breath, Tom turned to Danny, pulling him into his arms. "Come on, we're leaving." The finality of those words settled heavily in the air. "Dad, wait. I don't want to go." Danny's voice trembled slightly, confusion and fear clouding his innocent joy. Anna's heart shattered a little more as she witnessed the battle unfolding on her son's face. Could she really stand by and let Tom walk away with him like this? "Tom, let him stay a little longer," she pleaded, anxiety rising in her chest. "Please, he needs this." But Tom's gaze was resolute, unyielding. He tightened his grip on Danny, who was gazing back at her with wide, pleading eyes. "Let us go," he commanded, a finality in his tone that made Anna's knees feel weak. As Tom led Danny away, the small boy looked back over his shoulder, glancing at Zachary, who remained standing beside Anna, a pillar of silent support. With tears forming in her eyes, Anna realized that this moment might become one of many she'd have to confront. Every breath felt like an anchor weighing her down. With each step, Tom took Danny further away, the invisible thread weaving their lives together fraying with the distance. Anna felt Zachary's hand on her back now, a comforting presence in the eye of the storm. But she couldn't shake the feeling that she was losing a piece of herself, of their future right at this very moment. As Danny disappeared into the night with his father, Anna's heart clenched tightly. Would this confrontation change anything for her, for Danny, or was it a signal that her past would forever haunt her attempts at happiness? "Are you okay?" Zachary asked softly. I don't know," Anna replied, grappling with the uncertainty that swirled within her. She felt her heart throbbing painfully, every beat echoing the words she hadn't spoken yet. But what if this was only the beginning of the fight she never wanted? In that moment, she realized the battle for her son's future and perhaps her own had just begun. Anna stood frozen, a whirlwind of emotions crashing inside her. As the playground lights flickered in the twilight, the shadows around her seemed to grow longer, tugging at her like the weight of her past, a past she thought she had buried deeply. She turned to Zachary, the reality of the moment settling in like a thick fog. "I can't believe he just took him like that," she said, her voice nearly a whisper, fear rippling through her. It felt impossible to voice the fear that clutched at her heart. Would she ever be a part of Danny's life as she envisioned? Zachary moved closer, his brow furrowed with concern. He'll come back, Anna. He has to see reason. You're doing the right thing, he said, but Anna felt a looming uncertainty. She smiled weakly, craving those words to be true, yet her heart told a different story. What if he doesn't? What if I lose him? The tears were close now, blurring her vision. She could already sense her grip slipping on the strands of hope she had worked so hard to weave. Zachary hesitated, searching for the right words. You won't lose him. You love him too much for that. You just need to keep reminding Tom what's at stake. His support was soothing, a balm to her raw feelings, yet it was wrapped in a reality that felt perilous. In the quiet that followed, the sounds of the playground began to trickle back in, laughter and distant shouts of children playing. A stark contrast to the tension that still clung to her. With a deep breath, she let it out slowly, trying to gather her thoughts. I thought once I introduced you to him, everything would be easier. The weight of her words hung in the air. Zachary's eyes softened with understanding. Change never comes easy, especially where children are involved. He took a step back, regarding her with a seriousness that struck a chord in Anna. But maybe it's just the beginning of a journey. A journey to prove that you can give him the life he deserves. His words, meant to comfort, were a bit of a wake-up call. Facing Tom, entering this new chapter with Danny, maybe it was more than just about peace. It was a chance to carve out something authentic, something unbreakable. Yet the fear of reliving the past was like a shadow lurking just behind her. But what if Tom never accepts it? She murmured, seeking reassurance that didn't hang by a thread. With a sigh, Zachary stepped closer. Then you have to be strong enough to fight for it. For both of you. His intense gaze pierced through her doubts. You can't shrink away from this. Not for yourself, and definitely not for Danny. Anna felt a spark ignite deep within her, battling the fear that had taken residence in her heart. He was right. The fear was loud, but the love she felt for Danny? That was louder. I can't let him think I'm weak, she replied, finding a new resolve. Then let us figure this out together. You're not alone in this, remember? Zachary's warmth broke through her thick walls, pushing her to confront everything head-on. She knew that if she could present strength and conviction, it might alter the course of their lives. The two stood there, shadows lengthening under the waning light. The responsibility ahead loomed large, like the towering trees that surrounded the playground. But this was more than fear, it was a chance. Suddenly, a thought struck her. What if I ask for a meeting? Anna suggested, her voice steadying. What if I could sit down with Tom and tell him what Danny really needs? Zachary smiled, a hint of pride shining in his eyes. That's the spirit. But you know he'll fight you on it. I know, Anna replied, a new determination bubbling within. But I'm going to stand my ground. I can't let fear dictate our future. As they turned to leave the playground, the weight on Anna's chest began to lighten, though the uncertainty of what lay ahead sparked a nervous energy within her. Reclaiming her voice would be the hardest part, but maybe, just maybe, it could lead to something unexpected. What battles would she have to face to protect her son? More importantly, what revelations would come to light along the way? As they walked into the darkness, she knew one thing: the fight for Danny's future was not only about love but about reclaiming herself, too. Would she have the power to change not just her life, but also the life of the little boy who saw the world through innocent eyes? The unknown stretched out before her, but for the first time in a long while, she felt a flicker of hope. Would that hope be enough to guide her through the chaos waiting just around the corner? The meeting request sat on her desk, a formal email drafted with care. Yet, it felt heavy, like a lead weight tied to her every thought. Anna stared at the screen, her heart racing. Could she really sit across the table from Tom and confront him? What would he say? The thought of his face, twisted in anger or mocking laughter, sent chills down her spine. Just breathe, she told herself. You're doing this for Danny. With a shaky hand, she pressed send, the inkling of dread easing just slightly. Zachary's encouraging words echoed in her mind. This was about claiming her place in their lives. The next day, uncertainty hung in the crisp morning air as she entered the bustling cafe where the meeting was to take place. The scent of fresh coffee wrapped around her, mingling with the faint warmth of baked goods. Yet, it hardly penetrated the cold apprehension she felt. Just show up. Be strong for Danny, she murmured, gripping the strap of her bag. She could already picture him, his smile, his laughter, and the way his bright eyes lit up when he saw her. He deserved better than a life dictated by Tom's whims. As she sat at a corner table, she noticed parents with their children, couples sharing intimate moments, and friends laughing together. The chaos of life around her felt like a cruel reminder of what she stood to lose. After a few minutes that felt like hours, Tom walked in. He cut a striking figure, tall, imposing, with an air about him that demanded attention. But beneath that confident exterior lay a man who was still her son's father. Tom's gaze swept the room before landing on her. The moment their eyes met, a cold knot formed in her stomach. He approached, his expression unreadable. "Anna," he said, his tone a mix of disdain and curiosity. "You actually wanted to meet." "Thank you for coming," she replied, her voice steadier than she felt. He sat down with a deliberate slowness, his eyes narrowing as he examined her. "I hope this isn't some emotional ploy. You know I've got my own plans." "Plans that don't include Danny?" She shot back, unable to hold her tongue. Tom raised an eyebrow, clearly taken aback by her boldness. "That's not what I meant." Anna leaned in closer, her heart pounding like a drum in her chest. "I'm not here to play games, Tom. What matters is his well-being. You can't keep him away from me. I won't let you." Silence fell between them, heavy and suffocating. Anna searched his face for any hint of empathy, any trace of the man she once knew, the man who loved their son. Instead, she saw a wall, a fortress he'd built high and strong. His expression shifted, a flicker of something in his eyes. An irritation, perhaps? "You're passionate, I'll give you that. But you're out of your depth. You think you can challenge me?" "I know I can," she said fiercely, the warmth of newfound resolve pulsing through her. "Danny is my son too, and I won't let him grow up thinking I'm not on his side. I want to work together for his sake." For a moment, Tom just stared at her, disbelief written all over his face. Anna's breath caught in her throat, the tension in the air charged. Would he throw her words back in her face? Call her delusional? Or maybe, just maybe, he would hear the sincerity beneath her anger. As the silence stretched on, she could feel the other patrons in the cafe glancing their way, eyes flicking between the two of them, as if sensing the brewing storm. "What will it take?" Tom finally asked, his voice dropping lower, more contemplative. Anna's heart leapt. Was there hope? "Let us talk about what Danny needs," she replied, feeling the fear and determination meld into a powerful surge of courage. Just then, a rush of laughter echoed from a nearby table, breaking the tension. It startled both of them back to reality. But in that moment, she realized, the battle she was preparing to fight wasn't just for Danny. It was also for herself. "Let us start with the truth," Tom said, leaning slightly closer. "I'm willing to listen. But if this is going to work, we both have to lay everything out in the light." The tension between them shifted as the pending conversation took root, and Anna felt a spark of hope flicker again. She was stepping into unknown territory, a delicate path where both trust and strife intertwined, but was this moment the beginning of a genuine dialogue, or just another round in a game of manipulation? Anna inhaled deeply, ready to delve into the complexities of their situation. What truths would come to light, and would the revelation strengthen their bond for Danny's sake or shatter it beyond repair? The days that followed that cafe meeting unfolded like ripples in water, each conversation with Tom shifting the landscapes of their co-parenting dynamic. There were tense negotiations peppered with heated words, but also moments of surprising understanding. The initial resistance from Tom began to dissolve gradually. Perhaps he recognized that burying their past grievances would not serve Danny's best interest. Anna maintained her resolve. With each candid discussion, she felt the chains of fear loosening just a little, nudged away by the potential of cooperation. In truth, the meetings weren't just about Danny anymore. They compelled her to confront her own feelings about motherhood, sacrifices, and forging a future that felt bright and unchained. One Saturday morning, as sunlight streamed through her kitchen windows, Anna watched Danny draw pictures at the table. His laughter, buoyant and sweet, resonated through the familiar walls of their home. For the first time, there was a sense of ease radiating from her heart. The tension that had historically knotted her inside started to feel like a distant memory. "There you go, Mom," Danny exclaimed, pushing the crumpled paper toward her. It was a drawing a stick figure family, with his arms stretched wide, as if embracing the world. "Wow, look at us. We all fit in there?" Anna asked, beaming as she held up the artwork. It melted her heart to see him reveling in the joy of childhood, free from the burdens that had weighed on her shoulders. "Yeah. You, me, and Zachary." Danny grinned, his eyes twinkling with spontaneity. At the mention of Zachary, Anna felt a warmth bloom inside. He had been a steady force, ever present through the storms, encouraging her to walk the path she had once feared to tread. Just then, the doorbell chimed. Anna felt her heart flutter with anticipation. She opened the door to reveal Zachary standing there, an easy smile gracing his face. Even amid the chaos of her life, he felt like a beacon of possibility. "Hey, I brought ice cream," he declared, holding up the colorful tub as if it was a treasure from afar. Her heart swelled. His thoughtfulness brought lightness that radiated warmth throughout her home. "Just in time for our art critique," she chuckled, leading him in. As they surrounded the kitchen table, laughter combined effortlessly with Danny's excitement, creating a vibrant symphony of family, a mosaic pieced together by their connections. Moments of joy swirled around her, painting vivid strokes of comfort. Anna realized she was starting to reshape not just her world but Danny's too. She was building a sanctuary, grounded with love and honesty, where every layer felt expansive and supportive. However, as they enjoyed their ice cream, a familiar sensation began to tug at her. The secret of her past hovered near the edges of her thoughts, a shadow she knew she had to navigate sooner or later. This wasn't just about her, it was about honesty, a bridge built between Tom, Zachary, and Danny. Friendship thrives in truth, she reminded herself. Taking a deep breath, she turned to Zachary. "I need to tell you something. About my past, something that might affect all of this." "Hey, I'm here for you. Whatever it is," he assured, his eyes shimmering with understanding. "I'm not just a maid. I was once in a relationship that was filled with turmoil, and it has shadowed my life for years. I sometimes question whether I deserve this happiness now." The words came out in a rush, tethered by a mix of vulnerability and strength. Zachary's expression softened further. "You deserve every bit of happiness, Anna. Your past doesn't define your future." A wave of relief washed over her, but anxiety lingered still. "I know Tom will hold it against me. The choices I made became a caricature in his eyes. He may not accept this new bond we've built. I wish you wouldn't let fear chain you," he replied, his voice warm yet firm. "But if he does, let us face it together. Whatever it takes." It felt like a whirlwind had just lifted the fog away. She hadn't realized how much she needed to hear those words. How deeply she craved connection and support in myriad forms. With fresh resolve fueling her spirit, she turned back to Danny, who was busily layering colors in his latest masterpiece. "Your drawing is amazing, buddy," she remarked, proud to see the spark of innocence flourish within him. As he grinned, she felt the fire of hope ignite in her own heart. The past was a part of her journey, a heavy weight she bore, but it no longer dictated her future. In that moment of clarity, she stood poised on the edge of what could be a life filled with love, laughter, and the acceptance of all parts of herself. Whether it was with Zachary and Danny side by side or the unpredictable dance with Tom, she was ready. Unsurprisingly, the meeting with Tom next week felt like facing a lion emerging from the shadows. But Anna refused to back down. The choices she made from here on now hinged on truth, the truth of hardship made lighter by the glow of companionship. She rallied herself. She would embrace honesty, not just as a shield but as a foundation for everything to come. The beauty of unbreakable bonds stretched on the horizon, awaiting her grasp. "Mom, I need more colors," Danny called, pulling her back into the moment. "Let's make this the best art ever." She smiled, mixing colors together. And as laughter poured into the corners of their home, Anna knew this was the beginning of her transformation. The journey around every dark corner bred hope and an unyielding future, full of love, and she was ready to step forward into it. Now is the time to grab the kindness you have experienced. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Tap that like button now to feed the algorithm and keep these beautiful narratives alive. Don't just watch, comment your thoughts and feelings about this heartfelt ending. And you need to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share.